Your dog gently bites your hand when it gets excited. Maybe it happens when you come home, when play becomes intense, or when your dog wants your attention. You may already be used to this behavior. After all, it doesn't look aggressive. It just feels like play, and many owners even find it cute. But the problem begins when this becomes your dog's normal way of interacting with people. A dog using its mouth to interact with people is not automatically a problem. The thing you need to pay attention to is this. If this way of interacting becomes a regular part of how your dog communicates with humans, it may start relying on this behavior more and more to express excitement, instead of learning how to control its force and actions. Today, it may only gently grab your hand because it wants to play. But when your dog faces more intense situations like greeting strangers, playing with children, or becoming too excited to calm down, the same behavior can lead to a completely different outcome. It may bite harder, grab clothing, knock someone down, or continue even after the person tries to move away. Not every puppy that mouths a hand will become dangerous. But if biting repeatedly leads to attention, movement, or play, the behavior can become stronger. So why does a small, harmless action gradually become a long-term habit in some dogs? The answer begins in puppyhood, when dogs first learn what their mouths are allowed to do. Because many behaviors don't suddenly appear, they may begin forming during puppyhood. If you have ever watched a puppy, you may notice one obvious thing. They seem to want to put almost everything in their mouth. Your fingers, shoelaces, furniture, almost anything they can reach. When many owners first experience this, they often think, is my puppy just being too naughty? But for puppies, using their mouths to interact with the world is actually a normal part of development. Unlike humans, puppies often use their nose, mouth, and physical contact to learn about the world. What does something smell like? What does it feel like? Their mouth helps them answer those questions. But exploring the world does not mean a puppy naturally knows what kind of interaction is appropriate with humans. For a young dog, the more important question is, how does it learn to control its mouth, and how does it know when to stop? That ability develops gradually through experience and feedback. When puppies play with other dogs, if one puppy bites too hard, the other puppy may immediately stop playing, move away, or make a clear warning sound. These reactions help the puppy gradually adjust its behavior. This ability is often called bite inhibition. It means that as dogs grow and gain experience, they learn to adjust the strength of their bite depending on the situation. But here's an interesting question. Why can many puppies gradually learn to control their bite while playing with other dogs, but things often become different when they enter a human home? This is where many owners accidentally make the behavior stronger. Imagine a puppy gently grabbing your hand. You laugh. You continue petting it. Or you say no, but the interaction doesn't actually stop. You may even push the puppy away, wave your hands, or repeat its name. From a human perspective, it is just a normal moment of play. But for a puppy that is still learning the rules of social interaction, every experience becomes part of how it understands living with humans. If using its mouth on people does not interrupt the interaction, the puppy may gradually learn, this behavior still works. This is still a way to communicate with humans. Even negative attention may still feel like attention. If you move your hands quickly or push the puppy away, it may even think you have made the game more exciting. And even when a dog appears to know the rules, excitement can bring old habits back. Some dogs are usually calm and well-behaved. They know when to wait. They can live peacefully with their family. But once the excitement level rises when the owner comes home, when play begins, or when something especially exciting happens, they may return to using their mouth to interact with people. Why does the same dog behave completely differently in different situations? Because when excitement increases, a dog's ability to control its behavior can also decrease. The more excited the dog becomes, the harder it may be for it to pause and make a better choice. When stimulation becomes stronger, dogs often return to familiar behaviors that have worked for them before. If biting your hand has worked during play many times before, it may become the dog's automatic response when excitement rises. That is why when owners want to change this habit, the goal should not only be stopping the action itself, but it also needs to understand, when I want to interact with humans, what should I do instead? If an excited dog approaches its owner and only receives the message, "Don't do that," then in the next similar situation, it may still return to the same old behavior. Stopping the bite is only half of the lesson. The other half is teaching the dog which behavior makes attention continue. For example, when your dog gets excited and starts using its mouth to touch your hand, you don't need to immediately push it away. Instead, pause the interaction. Keep your movements calm. Avoid waving your hands, wrestling with the dog, or repeatedly shouting its name. Help your dog understand, when I become too excited, the interaction temporarily stops. The moment the teeth touch your skin, your attention becomes unavailable. Then, when it pauses, or chooses another way to approach you, such as standing nearby, sitting down, or simply waiting quietly, you can give attention again. This creates a simple rule. Teeth make the game stop. Calm behavior makes the game continue. If needed, you can also lead to positive results. You can also redirect the dog to an appropriate toy before excitement becomes too intense. But timing matters. If you give the toy immediately after the dog bites, it may learn that biting makes the toy appear. Wait for a brief pause or calm behavior first. When teaching a new habit, the most important thing is learning to notice, when did my dog make the right choice? Because dogs do not learn only from being corrected, they also learn through repeated successful interactions. Over time, they begin to understand, what kind of behavior allows me to continue communicating with humans? Imagine two versions of the same situation. In the first version, the dog bites your hand. You push it away, speak loudly, and move your hands faster. The dog becomes even more excited and bites again. In the second version, the dog bites your hand. You quietly pause and remove your attention. The dog stops, keeps 4 feet on the floor, and waits. You immediately restart the interaction. Everyone in the household should respond in the same way. Playful mouthing, fear-based biting, pain-related behavior, and guarding food or objects should not automatically be treated as the same problem. Only by understanding why the behavior happens can you help your dog change more effectively. It is simply using the method it understands best to connect with its surroundings. And growing up means slowly learning which behaviors are suitable for living together with humans. Your dog does not only learn from what you say, it learns from what happens immediately after the behavior. If biting keeps the interaction going, the habit may continue. If calm behavior consistently brings attention, play, and rewards back, your dog begins learning a safer way to communicate. And if your dog is repeatedly biting hard, breaking skin, targeting children, guarding objects, or showing stiff body language and growling, do not treat it as ordinary puppy play. Contact a veterinarian or a qualified dog behavior professional for help. The goal is not to stop your dog from using its mouth completely. It is to teach your dog when that behavior is appropriate.